If you were to ask someone what their favorite Mega Man game is, you'd get a handful of similar answers. Mega Man 2, Legends, Zero 3. But one of the most common answers you'll hear is Mega Man X, specifically the first one on Super Nintendo. Despite the game being over 30 years old, having 7 sequels, 13 if you count Zero and ZX, which you probably should, it is still considered one of the best games in the franchise. It even had a remake on the PSP, Maverick Hunter X, featuring updated 3D graphics, rearranged item placement, brand new endgame level design, and a completely separate campaign where you place the villain Vile. Yet people still come back to the original. That's because it has near flawless design. Mega Man X keeps the formula from the classic series established. There are 8 bad guys you need to take down, and then a gauntlet of endgame levels to take down the main villain. Now, however, the game opens on one of the best tutorial levels in all of gaming. I'm not going to go in depth. If you're watching this, you've likely already seen the legendary Egoraptor video on the subject. And if you somehow haven't, please do. This opening level not only teaches you the basics, but it shows you what you could become. Seeing the absolute machines that are Zero and Vile, it makes you, the player, want to become more powerful, and you do. Not only do you get more powerful by collecting the powers of the Mavericks to take down, but you can find health upgrades, sub-tanks to refill your health, and Dr. Light capsules to make your base moveset stronger. Allow me to introduce the greatest addition the X franchise ever gifted us, the Dash. The Dash alone completely changes the way you approach the levels. You don't get this amazing invention from the start, but it is the only Dr. Light upgrade to be impossible to miss. You get it in Chill Penguin stage, which even without the Dash is one of the best levels to start with. Everything you do has some interaction with the Dash. Wall jumping, well time a dash and you can just go flying. Fighting a Maverick, use that nifty dash to dodge his attack. Need to get around faster? You guessed it, just dash. The dash both lowers the skill floor and raises the skill ceiling at the same time. It's no wonder that this ability is the only one that became a mainstay in X's moveset going forward. It's no secret that this franchise has always had some of the best music, and X1 manages to sit atop the throne as some of the best music to come from this franchise. Seriously, give it a listen to and you won't be disappointed. I've had the Chill Penguins theme stuck in my head since the year 2013. That's when I first played the game back on the Wii Virtual Console. I remember me and my best friend Billy trying to beat this one level and neither of us could do it. It destroyed us, but yet we never felt like it was unfair, because it never was. If even 2 stupid middle schoolers think your game is well designed, then you know you did something right. I think it's worth noting how impressive X1 truly is. The classic series had pretty much completely stagnated at this point. I say this being a fan of all those games for the record. All the NES classic games are good, but the series had certainly stagnated after Mega Man 3. So when it came time to make the jump to the Super Nintendo, they could have totally played it safe and just made another classic game. But instead, they chose to innovate. And not only did they stick the landing, they scored a 10 out of 10 from all 3 judges. The levels are bigger, there are new substantial upgrades to collect, the story is darker, the gameplay is faster, the bad guys are stronger than ever, and it's going to take everything you have to take the Mavericks down. The only stage I don't look forward to playing in X1 is the Launch Octopus stage. And even then, most of the level is great. It's only the submarine mini-boss you fight over spikes that's annoying, since if you aren't careful, he can suck you into the spikes and that's a one-hit kill. The Mega Man franchise is one of the few franchises that actually has fun water levels, and that isn't any different here. You're still plenty fast, and now you also get a higher jump, which is always fun to mess around with. Hey, you know what's pretty cool? Robots. You know what's cooler than robots? Robots piloting mechs. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the Ride Armor. This right here is really cool. It can jump, run, dash, punch things. It's only available in certain levels, but these bad boys are always fun to take for a spin. Your main rival Vile even uses one against you, which makes him a menace to take on since you're too weak to stand a chance. In X1, the Ride Armor is pretty basic, and as the franchise would continue, the Ride Armor would continue to evolve. But for a first outing, I think this version suits the game perfectly. It's a bigger, badder version of what you started with no need for bells and whistles. And I think that's a good way to describe X1. It's Mega Man, but bigger and badder. As the X series would continue, each game would add new mechanics and gimmicks to keep the series feeling fresh with mixed success. The only game I think in the series that stands alongside X1 is X4. I still think games like X2 and X5 are fantastic, but X1 and X4 are just built different. So here you are, you've managed to defeat all the Mavericks and now you're ready to take down the big bad Sigma. You and Zero are rushing through the castle, taking down anything that stands in your path. You're no longer the weak X you started out as. Your arsenal is bigger than ever, you're rocking some fancy new armor, and you've come to kick somebody's teeth in. Then, everything goes wrong. Vile's back, and he's just as strong as before. But now you're strong enough to beat him, right? No. Despite all your growth, you're still powerless, and you still need help from Big Red, but this time Zero doesn't make it. He gives you the edge you need to take down Vile, but at the cost of his own life. The X franchise isn't afraid to get darker than the classic series. These games are about war, about Reploids going insane and attacking the very humans that created them. And just like any war, there are casualties. And Zero, the friend who you've aspired to be like all game, is one of them. Until he isn't, but let's not talk about that. This moment right here makes things so much more personal. At this point, you've already reached the goal of getting stronger. Your main goal as the player is complete, but this moment gives you a new goal, revenge. And it's that motivation that makes you push past all the obstacles in your path to take down Sigma once and for all. It isn't easy. This game is very challenging, but that sense of accomplishment at the end is unreal. Mega Man X is one of those games that I have many core memories with. And although there are plenty of games I played and loved from my childhood, this is one of the few where I can remember specific moments playing it. I can honestly say I think this game is a masterpiece and deserves to be archived. For movies, there exists the National Film Registry. This is a list of movies that the government believes to be culturally significant enough to be cataloged and archived for future generations. I've been of the mindset for a while now that there should be something like that for games. So, I've decided to make one of my own, and this will be among the first I add. I also want to add The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask to that list. I already made a video about that game, and I didn't think to do this at the time. But going forward, whenever I think a game is significant enough, whether because of the impact it had on gaming or the impact it had on those who played it, I'll make mention of it and add it to the Kiwi Games Registry playlist. Mega Man X is more than deserving of being on that list, and if you have any other games you think should be on that list, put them in the comments and maybe I'll make a video on them. But for now, I'll see you later, friends.